key figure in biblical prophecy, King Cyrus of Persia was the first ruler to be designated as great. Unlike those who followed, he built his fame on a platform of tolerance and benevolence toward those he conquered. As a result, his 30-year rule came to be regarded as the gold standard for world rulers. Few conquerors after him, however, were able to live up to it. The man who would become Cyrus the Great is believed to have been born sometime between 590 and 576 BCE. The accounts of his birth and early life are recorded mostly in legendary form, having been preserved in the writings of Greek historians Xenophon and Herodotus. According to Herodotus, Cyrus was the son of King Cambyses and the Median princess Mandane, who was the daughter of Astyages, the king of Media. Cambyses was the king of Anshan, in modern-day southwestern Iran. He ruled over a population made up of Elamites and Persians. Upon his death in 559 BCE, Cyrus took over the rulership. At the time, Anshan was operating as a puppet state under the dominion of the Median Empire. According to Herodotus, Cyrus revolted against his Median overlords a decade into his rule. The defection of Median troops to his side helped him to overthrow the Median king and take possession of his capital at Ecbatana. According to an ancient Babylonian text known as the Nabonidus Chronicle, King Astyages gathered together his remaining forces and marched against Cyrus. However, these troops also revolted to the other side. The Median king was put in chains by his own men and delivered before Cyrus. Cyrus showed himself to be a benevolent conqueror. His tolerance for the existing practices of the Medes gained him favor among them. As a result, he was able to bring together the Medes and the Persians to form the genesis of what would become the Medo-Persian world empire. As Cyrus cemented his position as king of the Medes and Persians, the surrounding nations looked on with increasing concern. King Croesus of Lydia tried to put together an alliance with the Egyptians under Pharaoh Amasis II, Nabonidus of Babylon, and the Spartans of Greece. Before they could make a united offensive action, however, Cyrus attacked and defeated the Lydians under King Croesus and took possession of the city of Sardis. He then advanced his army into Ionia, on the western coast of Anatolia in modern-day Turkey. Through a series of swift conquests, Cyrus established himself as the ruler of virtually all of Asia Minor. In the wake of his victory over the Medes, Cyrus built the city of Pasargadae, on the site where King Astyages had surrendered. The park-like city, which featured a number of impressive monumental buildings, became the residence of a succession of Persian kings, starting with Cyrus. The conquests of the Medo-Persian Empire continued through the 540s. The Bactrians, who had inhabited the country north of the Hindu Kush mountain range, prepared themselves to resist Cyrus. However, when they heard that Cyrus had treated the Medes with humanity, they made the decision to submit to his rulership. Cyrus next turned his attention to the nomadic Sakai people. Greek historian Tacitus provides a chronicle of how this unfolded. According to his account, before battle could be entered, he managed to take the Sakai king, Amorges, as his captive. However, the queen of the Sakai, Sparaethra, gathered together a huge force of 500,000 warriors, including 200,000 women, to take on the invaders. The Sakaean army managed to defeat Cyrus's army on the field of battle. Cyrus then apparently released Amorges, and the two armies united to conquer Lydia. If this account is reliable, Cyrus moved against the Sakaeans before attacking Lydia. Cyrus now loomed as the rival to the great Babylonian Empire under King Nabonidus. Over the past 70 years, Babylon had established itself as the dominant world power. The city of Babylon itself was a sight to behold. Its outer walls were 56 miles long, 80 feet thick, and 320 feet high. Previous King Nabonidus had built Babylon's Hanging Gardens, which were one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Cyrus was not cowed by the power of Babylon. On the contrary, in 539 BCE, he set about planning for its conquest. From this point, he begins to feature in Bible prophecy. In the book of Isaiah, he is personally named as the ruler who would release the Jewish people from Babylonian captivity by overthrowing the Babylonian capital. This prophecy was recorded a century and a half before Cyrus was even born. According to Isaiah, Jehovah, the God of the Jews, would take Cyrus by the right hand and lead him like a bird of prey to conquer Babylon. According to the biblical prophecy, Cyrus would accomplish the overthrow of Babylon by diverting the waters of the Euphrates, which provided a wide defensive moat for the city. He would then be able to march his army directly into the city as a result of the main gates being left open. The best account that we have of the actual invasion is recorded by Herodotus. That account is amazingly harmonious with the biblical prophecy. Herodotus wrote about the diverting of the river by means of a canal into an artificial lake. The Persians were then able to take the Babylonians by surprise. They entered the city as a huge feast was taking place. Xenophon added the detail that the Persians were able to gain entrance through the city gates, which were not locked. According to 1st century Jewish historian Josephus, the city was taken in one night. Babylonian king Nabonidus managed to escape to the nearby city of Borsippa. After ordering the destruction of the outer walls of Babylon, Cyrus marched his army in pursuit of Nabonidus. Realizing that resistance was futile, the Babylonian king surrendered to Cyrus. Nabonidus was banished and exiled to the region of Carmania, where he lived out the remainder of his life. Cyrus's victory over Babylon brought an end to the Mesopotamian domination by Semitic rulers. He then became the first Aryan world leader. Despite being prophesied by the Jewish god, Cyrus ascribed his victory to Marduk, the primary god of the Babylonians. He commissioned a building inscription to be written in his name. This was essentially an editorial in which he explained the rationale for his conquering of their city to the Babylonian people. He paints Nabonidus as a corrupt, godless ruler and himself as a conquering savior. Cyrus did not get to enjoy the fruits of his world conquest for long. Though the details are sketchy, it appears that he fell in battle sometime around 530 BCE. He was buried in the tomb that he had prepared in his city of the kings, Pasargadae. Cyrus was succeeded by his son Cambyses. In less than 2 decades, Cyrus had managed to bring the vast majority of the Middle East under his rule. By treating the conquered nations with dignity and allowing them a measure of autonomy, he held together a vast collection of disparate states, largely on the basis of their loyalty to him as a benevolent ruler. This is something that no one, before or since, has managed to accomplish. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe. If you have any other suggestions for future topics you'd like us to cover, please leave a comment below, and we'll see you next time on History Junkie.